Bam, bam, bam.
I don't know how much of that we can legally do. What's up, everybody? To the first Star Wars file here. Today, let me tell you. First, I'm one of your 6 co-hosts this evening, Tanner. And with me, as per usual, we got...
Cole.
Cody.
Wenzel.
It's Photon Pat.
And with us in Ghost Force Ghost mode...
It's me, Jonathan.
Oh my God!
We have
back.
we have resurrected Jonathan.
Did he just do Jar Jar Binks?
I thought
We're not even
I
there
feel like
yet.
that's racially insensitive.
no, it is. We'll get to Jar Jar. Not this point.
I don't know if I'm ready for that.
I don't want to talk about. Okay, here's the rule: when we do the prequels, we can't talk about Jar Jar.
Spoiler:
We don't
there's a
even
really
know he
shitty
exists yet.
character.
It's 1970, whatever time this movie came out.
Okay, so
Yeah, they're all dead.
yeah, Jar Jar was
They're way too force sensitive
Yeah.
for the Empire.
Today we will be reviewing the first Star Wars in our almost year-long journey of recording every Star Wars or reviewing every Star Wars movie up to Episode 9. Today we will be doing Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope. And just kind of it's definitely not going to be like we're going scene by scene and like breaking down like blah, blah, blah. Like it's just going to be our thoughts on the movie, kind of like a general review sort of deal.
Yeah, maybe.
Jonathan has 2.
Jonathan does have 2 pages of notes front and back. He came back from the dead with a vengeance.
Be prepared.
I really like
Preparation is key. Preparation
that.
H.
There's a blackboard.
He's
Back.
He's just looking crazy. What's that Always Sunny image?
Yeah, I have like the little
Charlie Day.
Sylvia.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's what we have here. So yeah, Star Wars, and that's the end of the podcast.
Okay, can I just start out by saying Chewie flat in the back?
Oh, hold on. I had a bit. Okay. So we were doing this while watching the movie, and Jonathan, you're not ready for this, so feel free to just free ball it. Everybody has to do their best R2-D2 impression. Not at the same time, one by one, so we can single you out. And then at the end, we all get to say who did the best one. And we're going to be starting with Colt.
Can I just say,
fuck.
Wenzel, prepare to turn down some people. Also,
Actually, Wenzel, I would suggest turn us all up to max.
Can we have a practice screen?
No practice screen.
Fuck.
It's. Do you think the man in the R2 suit had practice screens?
Yeah.
No.
He was stuck in there doing nothing but screaming.
No. I'm improving for Wenzel. Okay, Colt.
Are we good sound
Are we-
wise?
I don't know.
Wenzel
I'm scared.
So
No, we're starting with cold, aren't we?
yeah, Colt's going first.
Okay, go.
Oh God. All right. R2-D2. I'm trying out for R2-D2.
Okay.
That's as good as I can get it.
Okay,
There we
that's
go.
pretty good. That's pretty good. Oh, do I go now? I'll go next. All right. Hi, I will be trying out for the part of R2-D2 today.
oh, wow.
That's about all I can do.
wow.
That was it. Ugh.
That's about all I can do.
I like that.
All right, Pat, R2 time.
All right, this is my rendition of the astromech droid known as R2-D2.
I was not ready for that.
I didn't know where Pat was going to go with this. All right, Wenzel, your turn.
Whoa.
That's
That's my real one. That's my real
Wenzel
one.
stole my own Wilson bit.
No.
You can't do that one.
Okay.
No.
Okay, hold on. I'll do it. Okay. Let me.
Wenzel, you're fine.
I don't know if I am.
Wenzel just starts.
That one works for me.
Oh, my God.
All right, Cody, your turn.
Waking up the neighborhood. Okay, let's see. Whoa!
Okay, Tammy,
I don't know
calm
if Cody
down.
remembered what R2-D2 sounded like.
Everything's really muffled in my head. I have allergies.
All right, Jonathan, hit us.
Oh man, my throat's sore, so this is gonna be bad.
Wow! Beep, beep, beep. Oh, he added the beeps and the boops.
Okay,
I was doing the scream where he got shot
pretty
by
good.
the.
I was
little
also
dudes.
doing the shot. R2. I should have. I think if I would have clarified I was doing shot R2, maybe mine would have came across better.
Okay, can we get back to what this podcast is really about? Chewbacca's ass. It looks like a fucking chalkboard. Or not a chalkboard. What do you cut on? A cutting board.
It doesn't even matter. They're both flat.
I think the
Flat back with a crack.
100%. I personally believe.
Jonathan, was that on your notes by chance? Calling Chewie a crack?
Oh, I see it right there.
It's on page 1-2.
It's underlined.
Chewie I see it. Chewie does not have the ass, but damn, Leia do.
He put right next to it urgent.
Urgent. First thing
It's highlighted too with green. I don't know what that means.
I think you know what that means.
Color coded Star. Wendell, you stop laughing at my jokes. You're just feeding into my ego here.
Yeah, with
This is just good for the AYCH lore.
Is it?
Yeah.
This is essentially a non-canon episode.
But
so-
I just think the Wookiees, I feel like out of any of the aliens, in the Star Wars universe, that the Wookiees would have the fattest asses. And that's just...
They're holding out on us.
You haven't seen the Ewoks yet.
I mean, they're nothing but thick.
But the best part is like he couldn't remember the name of the Ewoks when we were watching. It's like, what are those little furry babies called? I can't wait to get to
Yeah, I
them.
couldn't remember.
He kept calling them furry babies. By the way, Ewoks not in episode 4.
No,
Spoilers.
that's like episode 5.
Oh, man.
Six.
Cody, you say that now. Wait till we get to the holiday special.
Okay.
Oh,
You will
we're
change
not-
your tune.
We're not
then.
doing the holiday
Okay.
special.
Okay. First of all, I have seen the holiday special, and I would let me.
There's one part in the Hollywood special, holiday special that's just burned into my memory. It will never escape.
Okay.
Is
go
it the
over
softcore porn part?
Oh yeah, with uncles like watching porn, and like everyone's just like, "That's uncle for you."
What the hell?
Uncle Wookie.
Okay,
that's
maybe I
number-
should watch it.
That's number 2.
100%. That's in the holiday special.
So should we talk about the movie?
Yeah, let's
Yeah, let's
Talk
get
about
to it.
though.
So this was my only second time seeing episode 4. So heads up.
Probably my
Noob.
4th or 5th time watching it.
Yeah, this is my 5th.
I would say Jonathan has seen it more than all of us combined.
Probably an embarrassing amount.
Probably times 2.
Like I didn't watch it for this review. I just I made these notes off of memory.
2.5 pages of notes out of memory.
Yeah, that's it. I couldn't do that with any subject in my life.
Can we talk about let's talk about our opening sequence there, which of course led off from if you watch Rogue One, the end of Rogue One, spoiler alert, is the beginning of Episode 4. Of course, like not in our timeline, but in the Star Wars timeline. And I just thought that entrance for Vader was pretty good. I really liked it.
Oh, I thought Jonathan.
No, Jonathan's shaking his head. Yes,
Yeah,
like,
usually, yeah.
it's very good, very good.
Yeah, I was like, his entrance makes him come off as like, yeah, this is a bad motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially because it's like you have this all white. What is it? It's a diplomatic mission. What's the ship? What is?
The 10-4 or something.
It's like a diplomatic ship, and it's like
Yeah.
all white interior, and then you just have Darth Vader, which is just like this dark looming figure that walks in with the white stormtroopers as well. So he obviously stands out like forefront in that one moment.
And then like out of a fog too, like he's like fucking Michael Jackson.
Yeah, everyone was just
Before
vaping.
Michael Jackson, well, not technically. Before Michael Jackson was Michael Jackson, he was just Michael Jackson from the Jackson 5.
Yeah.
Because this movie did come out in 1952, actually.
Yeah.
You're
Wait,
off.
it was 77, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure.
What?
Did you think it was 1952?
No. I always confuse it. I know in my head it's either 77 or 79. I always lean towards 79, but I know it's older than that.
Yeah, what year did it come out, Tanner?
1952.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I was super. I realized in this movie just how much I hate C-3PO. I really hate him. I can't stand him. He's my least favorite character in this entire movie.
Definitely not for me. Like I don't know. I remember when we watched them the first time, because the first time we ever watched the movies, we watched all of them in like one weekend. I was like, oh my god, C-3PO just needs to calm down. But now coming back from it after a couple of years, because the last time I watched Star Wars was Episode 8 in theaters. So I don't know. I don't want to say it was refreshing. Like, oh, thank God we have this kind of annoying character. But it was just kind of neat, I guess. Like you get, and we've talked about this kind of people complaining about, oh my god, the Star Wars has too much humor in it. Like C-3PO is totally there for like 100% comedic purposes.
Yeah,
100%.
he's supposed to be
Yeah.
the responsible character.
But it's also like, wow, look at this nerd.
Or he's like how like everyone would act in that situation, like the normal person. Like
Yeah.
I would be like, fuck that shit. I'm not,
full of anxiety.
Yeah.
like we are gonna die.
Yeah.
He's the anxious heartbeat of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't really find him that annoying just because, like I said, he's a responsible character. I mean, again, not to talk about Jar Jar Binks, but he's the character that I genuinely think is the worst thing to ever exist in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he literally gets people killed.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
We'll get
Yeah,
there.
we'll-
Come on.
I'm sure that will
we'll
be
get there.
hours worth of Jar Jar discussion in later
Oh,
episodes.
just you wait.
C-3PO's partner, though, R2-D2, is the best thing to happen in the Star Wars universe. That's
I
not-
don't disagree.
I think R2D2 may be the best character in the Star Wars movies.
I think R2-D2 may be one of the best just like characters in a movie ever.
Yeah, he's very iconic. Like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who are iconic, but like, there's a lot of things about Star Wars that's just iconic. But like, R2D2 is just, he's good. All he does is beep and boop and stick his
Whoa.
robot.
And he's like
thing
super integral.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I didn't know what that word meant.
A
until
character
I
with
just
no
remembered it.
dialogue, just like he just exudes personality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
A bunch
yeah.
of charisma and
It's-
it's a robot.
And
Not easy to do that. I wouldn't think.
Oh no, and especially for like the first 30 minutes of this movie where it's just C-3PO and R2-D2, which that always like blows my mind when I go back and revisit this movie. It's like, wow, we don't get our protagonist until like
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's
this
what
20
Yeah.
time.
minutes
Yeah.
into the movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that as well. Just how long it took for us to get to Luke. Like Luke is like I think Luke is. I think Mark Hamill's a fantastic Luke. I think Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Luke is great. I think that I can't imagine like Harrison Ford in Luke's place or
No.
And maybe that's just because of nostalgia glasses, but like Luke is just fantastic. But you're totally right. And also, I know a lot of people complain about Episode 8 with the casino thing, the casino scene.
Yeah.
The whole scene where R2-D2 and C-3PO were like, I'm not going to go across the desert. You go that way. I go this way. No, you go that way. I'm going this way. Like, I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? I hated that part.
No, I'll give you that. That part was kind of like, really? This is dragging on.
It's like it was just like they were trying to stall for time, trying to get that YouTube ad revenue. Am I right?
We have to hit 10 minutes.
Like I feel like the movie like starts out really slow up until they get to Mos Eisley, and then it's just boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom. And especially if you watch the theatrical run, which doesn't have like a lot of the CGI monsters in that scene, and then of course the whole
Wait, you're saying they use CG in the movie for the monster?
I thought they
Those
were
were
real.
real?
100% though. I wish they would have like. I wish we were in if Star Wars remade in 1993 with the same like animatronics as Jurassic Park. Fantastic.
Oh, of course. But,
oh yeah.
you know,
Good God, George Lucas loves some CG. That's
George
for
Lucas
sure.
was just like, we have to get Star Wars up to speed with the 90s. And that's what happened.
They replace all the CG in the movies twice. Every year.
Yeah,
30 years-
well, and I mean the thing is like the CG for 97 or y'all are probably watching the 2004 version. Even then, it's like that was like top tier for the time. You look at like shit from like 97, which was like Independence Day and garbage like that.
Yeah.
And it's just fucking awful.
CG has come a long way in
Yeah.
just a few years.
But going back to the movie with you talking about how R2 and C-3PO definitely like carry it for the first 20-25 minutes. It's like I didn't remember how long it was. And like considering, I mean, R2 does speak, but speaks in beeps and bloops and screams. Like C-3PO, it carries the whole like first quarter of the movie. I mean, you have the Vader scene obviously, which is, iconic for its own reason. But I don't know. Like, I couldn't imagine going, like, that's how you establish your canon. Like, that's the first interaction people have with Star Wars movies is having this pretty much 30-minute, like, sit down, like, okay, here's a gold robot, and here's a robot that speaks nothing but beeps and bloops.
Yeah, and they're going to be side characters from here on out.
Well, and since C-3PO is sort of the everyman, he's kind of like the audience surrogate to ease you into the setting up until you get Luke. Because even though Luke is new to a lot of the shit that happens, he's still very immersed in the setting.
Yeah.
The cinematography, especially on Tatooine, fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely some great shots. Yeah, great shots.
Like I mean, I know they're iconic, and maybe those are great scenes to me because they've sort of set precedent for those that come.
Yeah.
But for me, I can understand why they set precedent, especially when Luke's standing outside and staring at the sunset. That's amazing.
And it conveys so much with no dialogue.
Yeah, and some of the shots, whenever you see just how massive this planet is, especially Tatooine, whenever it pans up and you see the cliffside and the speeder, or what is it called, speeder?
Something like that.
Little speed thing that they're riding in, and it just shows how small they are riding down these ravines, and like the planet itself is just so massive and vast and empty that you're like, how can anyone else be out here? And then like you have the whole point of, you know, what him and his uncle or what his family they farm moisture, you know.
Yeah.
Which is the harvest. Like, what the fuck? How does that work?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just they really did there's a lot of really awesome world building on Tatooine.
Yeah,
definitely. And I know Lucas gets a lot of shit for his directing, and mostly it's warranted because we'll get to it in a minute, but especially his writing isn't the best. But his visual storytelling is really some of the best. Like even in the prequels, where you know you have I don't like sand. Like I mean, the shot composition and transitions and everything are really good.
Yeah,
dialogue awful, but the actual what we're seeing, I always think back to the scene in Episode 3 with Vader and Anakin and Obi-Wan fighting on what's the Mustafar?
Mustafar, yeah.
And whenever they're fighting on Mustafar, and you have the two blue sabers fighting against the red background, and how it just seems like that's the little bit of light. Like the cinematography there is just so good, and it's so iconic to that movie that every time I think of Episode 3, I think of the Battle of Mustafar. Yeah, that's what I think of.
Yeah.
And then you have the scenes where they're coming whenever it's Grievous versus Obi-Wan, and Grievous is coming after Obi-Wan. I don't know. It's really, really good.
Oh yeah, and again, we'll definitely get to that. You know, hours, months from now.
Yeah.
Just a little spoil because the way we're doing this, just in case you didn't know, we're going in order of theatrical release. So we're doing 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, Rogue One, 8 Solo, and then we'll do 9. So
okay. Just sort of like what's everyone's like overall opinion on this movie, and like where does it rank in?
I liked it a good bit, but it is not a top tier Star Wars movie for me. It's in the lower area.
It obviously is an entrance.
Yeah.
It's definitely an entrance, and I think that it makes a great entrance, and that if I was watching this in 1977, I think I would still be blown away. I think I would definitely.
Oh, this movie would have blown me away in 1970. Because like I'm watching it now, and like there's so much information they throw at you.
Yeah, I was just about to bring it up because we're talking like there's so much shit that's in there that like at the time nobody would know, but now seeing like all the like the movies, the Clone Wars, all that stuff, it's like wow, that's a lot of information they stuffed into one movie just to start off an entire universe.
Yeah, and most of it's just like name drop to make it seem bigger. Like, and I'm always surprised going back to it, like how they name drop the Clone Wars in this movie.
Yeah. that still gets me. I'm just like, the Clone Wars was so insane. And this takes place so far after that.
Like, imagine being an 8-year-old kid and watching that movie, and then the Clone Wars comes out in whatever year the Clone Wars came out, and being like, "Oh my god, they did it!"
Yeah.
And then the Clone Wars being what it is, but arguably the worst movie. But
no, that's Attack of the Clones you're thinking of.
That's Attack of the Clones.
Clone
Wars is the animated show.
Yeah, you're right.
Clone Wars was fantastic.
Clone Wars is a great show,
and it has the best character in the entire Star Wars universe.
And the fact that we're getting another season, like, okay.
Oh yeah, we are. I forgot about that.
Very, very excited.
Super hype about that. For me, I know a lot of people like put this up with Empire, but for me, it is dead in the middle as far as my ranking of the movies. one of my biggest issues with this movie is it doesn't feel like Star Wars necessarily.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. It definitely has that first episode issue where they're just getting their footing, and it's not until what becomes Star Wars, until Empire, and then Jedi, where you get a lot of the weird shit.
Yeah.
That makes Star Wars awesome.
Yeah, there's not a lot of and again, maybe that's because we grew up in the realm of, because these first three movies, they never were hyper focused on the Star Wars canon as a whole. They were always focused on the situation at hand, you know. And we grew up with the prequels, which of course, you know, expanded upon what we know as the canon, because it was just like, oh, you have the Galactic Republic. It's much more of on a macro scale versus
we definitely have the luxury of living in, you know, when we were born, like all these movies had already been out, and there's all this other associated material with it. So like when we were born, we just came right into it. And the people who saw it at the time, you know, they just got this taste and had to wait years to the next one, and just had to just think. I feel like even though it's weird how it's the first one, but there's all this early installment weirdness. Like we don't really, it's still finding its footing, but it gives you so much to think about. Like it gives you so many breadcrumbs. Your mind just like, I want to know about this and that, and your mind just goes in all different places. And that, I feel like that's one of the strongest parts. It's just it feeds your imagination. It's kind of like you feel a lot like the characters in the world, like you want to be a part of something bigger, and you want to be part of this, you know, this large universe.
It definitely conveys that with all the information given, especially with all the creatures and costumes. You get the sense that it's a much bigger universe and world. And because, like, you know, the Clone Wars, it's like there's an animated show, the Clone Wars, we get to see with that. Then C-3PO and R2-D2 mention Antilles, and we know who Antilles is. And then they also it's like how they get the information about the Death Star. It's like Rogue One, you know. It's like very, very wide, a lot of things.
And then like Boba Fett's in this movie.
Boba Fett, you
for
see
like
30
seconds.
Yeah, I
Greedo,
remember that.
Yeah.
the Hutts, Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
Who is the person? Was Boba Fett the one who was masked and like under the robe and pointing them out?
No, that was
weird.
That was an Imperial spy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Boba Fett was with Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
He was the last. He's the last character you see before it cuts back to Luke and them, because he was with Jabba when they confronted him. No.
I always block that scene out of my head because I hate it.
Yeah,
Oh my
it was
God.
seeing that. It was oof.
Talk about where the CG is bad in that movie. Holy crap. It is utterly atrocious.
I didn't realize.
And then like because this scene was originally shot for 1977, and Jabba was originally supposed to be in this movie, but they just couldn't get it right. And this was before he was like a giant slug monster.
He was like just kind of like a heavy set guy there.
Yeah, so like Han Solo's just like walking behind him, and he doesn't like step on the tail and shit. So they have to like physically like move him up.
Yeah.
And it just looks so fucking awkward.
But it's funny because like this is the second they redid that scene in CG. So, but I remember the very first time they had the CG Jabba, and it's even more creaky now because it's a very obviously they're like taking Harrison Ford's scene and just like boop, just moving it up behind that really funky CG Jabba. Of course, you know, in hindsight it is what it is, but it's this is better than what it was, but it's not great now, even looking back.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the main reason I don't like that scene is the reason they created the whole thing with Greedo was to replace that scene that they were going to cut, and so it's just really redundant because it's giving you mostly the same information.
Yep.
And it also makes
It literally has the same lines. I think like some of the lines are the same.
Yeah.
Like with he says something along the lines of
You're such a decent human being or something.
that was weird.
That was weird.
Yeah.
Well, it makes sense because in the original scene it was an actual person.
Yeah, but still
it's a sarcastic line here.
Yeah, it makes sense, but still, you can obviously tell.
But it was something he says in the scene with Greedo where it's something along the lines
The price
of,
on his head.
Yeah, something along those lines, but it's like similar to, but it was like trying to convince, like, oh, I could do it, you know, I could do this, no problem, you know, whatever. But there was a specific line that was the same in both scenes, and I didn't realize it was something replaced, but that's that's interesting.
The one where we've all been boarded or something like that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all been boarded before.
Yeah.
That was the exact same line but with Greedo and in this scene with Hutt.
Yep.
So that's That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It definitely, and I mean, I know it's not intentional, but there's a lot of like places in the movie where Han repeats a very specific line of dialogue almost verbatim. Like the time he like when he's calling Princess Leia girl is like, or sister. And then he calls Princess Leia's like sister. I'm not doing that. And then like 5 seconds later to be like, sister, hold on. And then not refer to her sister for the rest of the movie.
Or like worshipfulness.
Oh yeah, worshipfulness was one. Your high, obviously like your highness.
Well, he referred to her as her highness, and then he started saying you worshipful, and then he started saying worshipfulness. It's like, why?
It's
Why?
like, what are you doing here?
Which again, it's like anybody who says Star Wars never had this much humor. Literally watch the first episode. It had humor from the very beginning.
Oh yeah,
especially when Han is talking over the radio. It's like, how are you? Like, hilarious. I love it.
No, there's definitely like a ton of comedic moments in.
They said they forgot the scene where Han like is charging the stormtroopers and they run away and then they charge him back.
Yeah, like
and it's not just like it's not like this intense like Han Solo chasing down the stormtroopers. It's like Han Solo going ah!
And then the stormtroopers are running away in terror.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was gonna say episode. This is episode 4. It ranks like in the middle for me as well.
I would say for me, it's definitely I think the weakest of the original trilogy, and I'd probably have it over everything in the prequels, and then I'd probably also have 7 and 8 above it. So it's I guess it'd be near the bottom for me.
Yeah,
just with how many movies there are now.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to rank them. I like a lot of them.
Yeah, that's me too. I don't hate this movie. I think it's a great movie.
I don't think I could sensibly rate them and feel satisfactory with it.
No,
but I really do. I think it's a great entrance into the series. I think that it's got a lot of good aspects to it. It definitely has so much there that you like. What are the Clone Wars? Ooh, Jedi. They have magic powers.
Oh,
but
yeah.
Then there's this Darth guy. He's got magic powers. Red light saber, white/blue.
The Force.
Saber.
What's the Force?
Yeah, what's the
Force?
I could not imagine being somebody in 1977 being thrown all this information and coming out of there being like, that had to be one of the best things of all time. Like, I just can't fathom that. Like, even today.
Like, if you compare it to the movies of that time period, I would never watch any of those movies. They suck. I'm just kidding.
Well,
have you seen The Godfather? No.
I haven't. It's actually a really fucking good movie. But, like, it's just, like, amazing how revolutionary this movie is. And I'm not being hyperbolic at all.
Oh,
like,
no.
We wouldn't have, like, the Marvel Cinematic Universe or any of these big action blockbusters without Star Wars. Yeah. And especially for the context of the time, there was, like, most movies were just fucking depressing in the 70s. You had, like, The Godfather 1 and 2, Taxi Driver was the year before, and that, like, entire soundtrack is just sad, melancholy jazz. Yeah. And, like, I think Rocky came out the year before, but, like, even then, it's like set in Pittsburgh, so it's, like, really grimy.
Yeah, gross.
And he fucking loses. Spoiler.
Whoa! This isn't the Rocky Files.
Well, I mean,
I've never seen Rocky, and you just spoiled it for me. It looks like I'm going to the pound.
Wait, I don't
to cry.
Oh, I still don't get why you'd go there.
Get it.
and also, like, out of this movie came ILM, the Industrial Light and Magic, which was, like, probably the biggest special effects company for a long time. Like, I have this big coffee table book with them, and just looking through, like, all the movies they've worked on from, like, the late 70s even through, like, the 90s, it was like, fuck.
They were super innovative in what they've done as well, which is what always gets me is that, you know, they were holding sticks. Those lightsabers were sticks. But, like, that in the 70s, they just went in and highlighted over each individual reel. They just they added the color to each individual reel. And it's just like, holy shit.
And they kept breaking the sticks, and that's why they're, like, barely hitting.
Yeah.
Because they kept breaking them.
Yeah, there's definitely this part during the Obi-Wan and Darth Vader fight where Darth Vader's really just, like, poking at Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
like,
and it's like you'll see them, like, they won't, like, actually, like, they're not supposed to touch, but, like, they'll bump each other.
Yeah, they'll bump each other, and they still have to add, like, the green shock effect from it.
Even though they're not intentionally fighting, it's just they're holding him and they're kind of, like, waving them, so they just kind of, like, accidental bump.
Yeah, it's so good.
This was something like the some of the camera tricks and special effects they use, like the scene where Obi-Wan is like turning down the I guess the energy field that keeps him trapped inside. Like the only part of that was an actual set is the part he's standing on. The rest of that's just a painting.
Oh, yeah.
And like that's done a few different times in the movie, and that's not a new trick either.
No.
It's just an amazing trick what they use, and when they did the flyby with the chasm and the Death Star, it's literally just like a big like tabletop size like miniature, and they're like driving the camera over it.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing how this movie was made on like a shoestring budget, and then everything about it was just so profound. Like it's really astounding.
Yeah.
Like I was looking up the numbers, and it got raised to $11 million, which is fucking amazing. Like even adjusting for inflation, that is small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
for something for what they got. How much money did it make? Do we know?
I'm sure we do. I don't know off the top of my head. It's a metric fuck ton.
yeah. I mean, if we're counting just box office, but like
$1 billion.
I don't know.
And I mean-
I don't think so, but
And also something else to keep in mind, this movie came out before home video was a thing, so people, if they wanted to see it again, they would have to go multiple times to see it.
And there were probably a ton of people out there that just had to go see it again.
Bunch of nerds.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and you'll see footage of just like people lining up blocks and blocks just to see this movie.
Yeah, which makes sense.
And which is funny because initially they had to like Fox had to strong arm theaters to show
to
it.
even show it, I remember reading something about that, and it's just. And it's so, like you were mentioning earlier, so much different than everything from, like, obviously, it's like an exploration movie in space, but, like, the fact that it's not, like, utterly depressing is also just, like, a great thing about it. Like, it ends on a very happy note.
I mean, the way the music's done, like the part where Luke is watching over the horizon, the sunset with the two suns, and then the standard like Star Wars music starts to play, like sounds hopeful, sounds like there's something
The
greater.
movie's literally called A New Hope.
Yeah,
A New Hope.
Yeah.
Which again, that I love the sound, I love the music.
Yeah.
And like what I think a great sense that scene conveys is just like just a sense of wanting to belong, and just like the wanderlust, it's just the want to explore, like. And what Cody, going back to what Cody said earlier, is just how big everything feels. It's like that's what I love so much about the movie. It's just the scale of it. Like when the movie opens, you see like the curvature of that planet and the ships going by. It feels like even though everything seems so small in comparison in this movie, you don't feel insignificant.
Yeah, like he lives in a big ass desert in the middle of fucking nowhere.
And it's cool that like even within that desert, so much shit is happening, and that desert is one area on one planet in a galaxy full of planets in a universe full of. I mean that if you're watching in '77, you don't know that, but with us with today's context, we know like
it's very lively.
Yeah, it's like it's not like I don't even know how to describe it.
It's very lively, but it's also very desolate.
Yeah,
and it's very far in between, and I don't know. There's a lot of complex things that go into that.
Yeah, it's like they have the technology, to fly and stuff, but it's like some of them just can't leave. Again, like wanting to belong, but they can't. All of that very.
So I found some numbers for how much it made. So domestically, it made $307 million.
Is that adjusted for inflation or not?
That is not.
That's $307 million could have bought the United States in 1977.
So domestically,
I mean,
actually, the domestic lifetime total. So I'm looking at this right here. The opening weekend. So they had a limited opening weekend, which was May 25th of 1977, and it made $1 million. $1 million. 500 or 1.5 million.
Yeah.
The wide open weekend, it made $6.8 million. So, but going from there, so it was actually surprisingly in theaters until 1979. It was I say that it was actually it wasn't in theaters until 1979. They had different showings for it.
Yeah.
Apparently they showed it in 1977 from May to December. And the first weekend, of course, in May, the $7 million on July 1st through 4th. It made a shit ton of money. But the total worldwide gross, I don't know if this is, I can't find if this is like for that weekend or not, but the total like worldwide lifetime gross of the movie was $775 million.
Yeah, I mean,
that's a lot.
That is a lot of money.
That is, I can't even fathom that. Like I'm, like just the fact that it was in theaters for like a sizable portion of 2 years. I mean, like we haven't had anything.
There was.
I mean, we've had Avatar do that, and Avatar was bad. So
yeah,
Avatar was good.
No, it's fucking.
You
garbage.
and Tanner are the only people that think that here.
It's Pocahontas in space. That's all that fucking movie
Pocahontas
is.
was good.
No, it's
No, it's not. It's racist as fuck.
I don't remember. I was 5.
It's literally that one movie. What is it called? Dancing with Wolves. It's literally that.
Yeah.
Oh, Coyote Ugly.
What the fuck is that?
Good, bad, and ugly.
So I'm looking right here. There was one weekend.
Coyote.
I said good, bad, and ugly.
There was one weekend.
No, that's a good movie.
That's racist too.
There was one weekend.
Yeah, you're right.
Just to give you an idea, this movie came out in May.
yeah,
Right? Movie came out in May, limited release, and then again came out later in wide release just a few weeks later. In August, its weekly gross was still at like $10 million.
that's absurd money. I mean, that's like everybody going to go see that movie.
It was honestly making $10 million plus a week. Its peak was the first week of August, where it made $12.4 million in a week.
I loved Avatar.
Avatar was great.
That is insane. That's insane to me, especially considering how many you got to. I mean, yeah, theaters were big back then, but like.
And there wasn't near as many theaters in the. I would assume. I mean, there wasn't, because now most nationwide release now consists of 3,500 theaters probably. I think somewhere around there. There's no way it was even close to that number in '77.
I think it was actually
Maybe 5.
Just 5 theaters.
Well, and like I said earlier, they had to rely on the theater because home video wasn't a thing yet.
Its widest release, again, this is remember how much money it made? Its widest release was only 1,700 theaters.
Yeah, so that's less than 50% of total theaters we have in this country currently.
Gosh, let's stop talking about numbers, nerds.
I just think the numbers kind of prove it, because if you look at those first few weeks, you're seeing a million, boom, 10 million. Suddenly, everyone wants to see it.
Yeah.
And you start seeing that more and more because those are people going to see it over again. I mean, it didn't just stop. It peaked in August.
Yeah.
That's my thing, is that it didn't just peak the first weekend like every movie we have today does.
Yeah.
It peaked in August.
Yeah.
Which was 2 months after it came out.
Also, too, you have to take into account, now we have the internet.
That is true.
So, I mean, by that time, it would probably take that time for word of mouth to get around, hey, this is a fucking fantastic movie. You should see it.
That's just, I mean, to put that in perspective, that would be like if Endgame came out and then had a record-setting opening weekend, and then 2 months later, they're like, oh my God, they beat their opening record total by $20 million. I mean, that's, and I think that really shows into perspective, because, I mean, I assume most people listening to this are probably skew younger, definitely wasn't probably alive in 77. Star Wars was literally an instant success. It wasn't it was an overnight success. It wasn't something that took years. It didn't have 3 movies under its belt, and people started going, "This is pretty good." It was literally days, weeks, months, and it just built from there.
People loved it.
Yeah, people immediately loved it.
And when they were making it, no one thought it was going to be a hit at all.
Yeah,
and a lot of it too had to do with the behind the scenes was a fucking train wreck.
Yeah,
George Lucas developed hypertension just because it was so stressful.
Yeah, he was hospitalized for a while.
Oh, wow.
And then basically the main reason the movie is as good as it is because it got saved in editing by his wife.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now, and the fact that sci-fi just wasn't a thing. It was a thing, but it wasn't. It was popular in the 50s, and but it kind of had died down by that point.
It wouldn't be taken seriously.
Yeah, it was only mostly B-movie material.
Yeah.
Even a movie like 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is considered one of the best films of all time now, was panned when it came out. And why was it like 68?
Yeah, I think so. It's just sometimes because it either just turned or about to turn 50. I think it's just turned 50. So
I don't know. That opening shot where the blue Danny starts playing is really good.
But if you want to look into the behind the scenes, there is a documentary that came with, I want to say, the 2004 release of the original trilogy called Empire of Dreams. It skews a little in favor of Lucas and sucking his dick, but it's really insightful.
Yeah.
Every time I see George Lucas, he reminds me of the guy from Home Improvement,
Tim Allen.
The guy that was always mad at Tim Allen.
Al.
I don't know why. I think of Al every time I think of George Lucas.
It's probably the plaid shirt. He always wears like
I don't know.
Oh, it's probably because George Lucas also co-hosted a show called Tool Time with Tim.
Where it was just Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Jesus
That
Christ.
was real. That was real.
That was actually Chewbacca.
That was a Wookiee. He's been working on that for 20 years
Yeah,
now.
that was Jonathan's Force Ghost projecting as Chewbacca. So, I kind of go back to an earlier point where Jonathan was talking about how like slow the first 30 minutes are, but then it just starts speeding up. It got to like the ending portion, like where they're all flying like through the Death Star and stuff. I'm like, this movie's about to end.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's a 2-hour movie. It's not short by any means.
Yeah, Cole mentioned it. He says he keeps forgetting that they blow up the first Death Star in the first movie, and I had the same thing. I was like, I keep forgetting they do that.
Yeah.
And like again, that's whenever I was thinking about watching this movie, I was so reluctant. I was like, God, that first few minutes is super slow, but then it does really speed up and throws you into the thick of things.
Yeah.
And if you watch like the theatrical cut, which doesn't have like the Jabba scene and then a couple CGI shots, it honestly goes way too fast.
Oh yeah.
Like that's the one thing I am thankful for the special edition for. That and the space battle just looks miles better.
Yeah.
In the special edition, because it was all models in the original one.
Well, I feel like the space battle is probably my one like big criticism about the movie is that for me it felt really confusing. Like I could you have all these heads like bopping in and out of the screen, like they're the pilots, but I can't tell what really any of them are in relation to what's happening. But I know that a lot of that sort of like technical limitations, be that as it may. At the same time, it's like everything's happening like 100 miles per hour at this point. And it's like, okay, it's easy where somebody can get lost or confused.
I laughed every time that there was every time there was like a TIE fighter, and then the scene like of that TIE fighter was reused whenever they're fighting them.
My God,
it's so funny.
So many reused shots in this movie. There's that scene where those shots are reused, and then in the scene where Han and Luke are shooting the cameras on the Death Star, and it's like the same two cameras, but it looks like they shot like 1,000 fucking cameras.
Yeah, it's like how many fucking cameras are in the room?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
like those guys get no time to do anything in that room. Like you can't sneeze.
The room is literally made of cameras.
Well, and that was the thing. With a lot of movies, there's like a lot of footage that you don't use.
Oh yeah,
obviously, and like other than like that Jabba scene, they use like everything.
Oh yeah,
and it shows, especially in the space battle, where it's like the same shot of the TIE fighters coming.
Yeah, when Han is shooting at one of the TIE fighters, and it's like it's coming closer, and then he's just staring. Then it comes closer again. It's like it's coming from the same fucking distance. Jesus, shoot it.
I mean, again, and it's definitely one of those things from just like it being the 70s.
Yeah, no, there were limitations, and I get that.
Even for the 70s, this movie was highly constrained.
Yeah, but we could still make fun of it.
Yeah, like we're 29. Just know us smarter than anybody in that movie.
My big thing also with that scene, Patrick, is it seems like there were a lot of characters in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
I think they did a really good job with juggling.
I mean,
Leia.
millions of people died in this movie.
I mean, you have literally.
Yeah.
Leia, Han, Obi-Wan, Chewie, R2-D2,
C-3PO.
Luke, C-3PO. All those, they juggled them pretty well, and they all felt like good characters.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the movie, they're like, Luke brings the princess to Yavin, and they're like, "Hey, let's go get them, boys." And then they like jump in their ships, and Luke's like, "Yeah, I'm in a jumper now. Now I'm flying."
Yeah.
And then it's like, "Oh, and here's all these guys."
Yeah, and I know this dude.
They're
we go way back.
Biggs.
Well, yeah, and that was another scene that was cut because Biggs was like, there was supposed to be a scene on Tatooine introducing him.
Yeah.
So
that would make sense.
Yeah, so it is kind of weird. It's like, hey, I know you, and it's like, who the fuck is this asshole?
I mean, you get like a little bit of it in the beginning. Like in the beginning, he's like, oh, my friends are all gone off now. You can, I guess you can piece it together, but still, like him just be like buddy with this guy comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, and they just happen to be on the same task force sent to go destroy the Death Star.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I just find it funny how we get all these like essentially nameless characters, and when they all are doing their bit, Red 1 reporting, Red 2 here, it's just like it's funny. Like it's funny to me just because like all these characters die.
Yeah,
so like it's not really important.
You say they're nameless, but there's like 20-page Wikipedia articles on all of them.
Oh no! Yeah, I remember going to Wikipedia and it's like all these characters have fucking names, and then it's just funny too how Luke is like, "You've done enough, Wedge. Get out of here!" Like they're best friends already. Like you just fucking met this guy.
Well, that and there's like
the
two
Force.
actors playing him too.
Yeah, it's fuck.
Yeah.
But that's something again about like a larger universe that I love about this movie is that like it seems like every character is like the aliens, like they all seem like some of them are the same species and stuff, but they all seem to have their own story to tell. And I mean a lot of them do. Like, you know, you see that with Greedo. You see, I think there was one guy, I don't know if this is true, but I remember having an action figure of him. He's actually a bounty hunter. His suit looks like an astronaut suit. You see him in the background of that little cantina area. There's Boba Fett, who we see for like, you know, a few seconds. We don't know who that is, but he's there. It's like you have all these characters with these different stories to tell, and it's very nice.
I still think that the writer's room of anybody who's done Star Wars stuff takes that scene at the cantina and just like picks a character and says, "Let's write about them."
Yeah, probably.
And gives them background story.
Can we have a moment of silence for Porkins?
Oh, Porkins!
I was going to mention earlier, but we talk about how like, every single ancillary character has like a big long backstory. I remember seeing in like one of the like comic book like preview magazines that there's actually like a statue of Porkins with like him like in a saunter pose, like sticking his gun out ready to fire. Like literally every single like extra character is widely expanded upon in the universe.
Yeah.
And plus like just like the cantina scene is like obviously one of the most memorable scenes in the movie, and for me personally, because you're just dunked in the deep end of the pool with all these different wildly expressive and creative looking aliens. You want to know about each single one, just stop and pour over every scene to just see all of it, because it's just dense with
There's
like,
so much.
imagery.
Yeah.
And I keep coming back to the differences between the special edition and the theatrical cut. But like even like with the special edition, there's even more like extravagant monsters, because like in aliens and such, because like in the theatrical cut there's like a wolf guy and then and then just like generic looking aliens everywhere. But then the special edition, it's like, oh, there's like Rhodians and all these names of species I'm actually blanking on at the moment.
There's that one that's like super tall. He looks kind of like a Yeti, but he has like 6 eyes and a tiny little snoot thing. It's like
I know what you're talking.
Yeah, I remember those were the creatures that was in the animated series of Clone Wars, where they went to that snow planet and they fought that entire fucking tribe. Yeah, like there's that as well. There's the guys. They're blue and they have red eyes.
I want to say they're Doros.
Maybe
Cad Bane.
Exactly. Cad Bane species as well. It's
what the fuck was the devil? The Satan.
Oh yeah, the thing.
Oh no, that was just Satan.
Just chilling.
Yeah.
Hey guys, what's up?
The Christian religion exists in the Star Wars universe.
By the way, that's something that gets me in the movie, where they keep talking like, man, your ancient magic, hokey religion. And then like Vader chokes out the guy, and then it cuts like again to a separate scene, and Han Solo is just like, man, this hokey bullshit magic stuff. I'm like, is it hokey if it's real?
Well, to them it is, because at that Han didn't grow up with the Jedis.
Well,
he grew up. And most people don't know Darth Vader. People heard about him and heard about his powers, but a lot of people don't necessarily get to see those powers.
Yeah, everybody knew who he was before Anakin.
The guy he force choked in that room, I guarantee you had always heard of Vader's powers and heard that he's religious, but never really saw him in action and just thought of him as like some sort of figurehead. Yeah. But then when he's like getting choked out, he's like, "Oh God, no!"
What a fucking tool, too.
Yeah, I mean, your lack of faith. It's disturbing.
It's so funny how like obviously in the later movies and in like the lore as a whole, Vader is seen as like this like huge evil leader. But then like his subordinates are not short of him just being like, you're kind of stupid, Vader.
I mean, and that's what's kind of fun about it is that like, you know, like, I mean, he is technically like their leader, or he's their leader and stuff, but all these like guys, they're generals and admirals. It's like they're a military. They have to have that sort of like there should sort of be that respect, you know.
Well, he's not even but he's not a leader though, really.
He's not a military guy. Like their boss is Tarkin, but he's kind of separate.
Well, I mean, and even then he answers to Tarkin in this movie. And part of that is, you know, they didn't know where they were going with this. They were flying by the seat of their pants. So,
but that's the thing, though, is that like Vader has always been auxiliary. He's never been militant. He's always been the right hand man of the emperor. But they never really But the thing is, though, is he's never been like. Oh, he's not like the lead of anything. Yeah. He can be the lead of stuff if they're told to, but he's not necessarily like who they answer to necessarily. Mm-hmm. They all answer to Tarkin, and even Tarkin was giving Vader orders, because technically Vader is not, you know, he's enslaved in a way by the Force. To the Emperor, but through his own. Anyways, it's complicated.
And then we even get mentions of the Emperor in this movie. Who the hell's the Emperor?
Yeah, we haven't seen the Emperor.
Yeah,
that's good though. I mean, that sets it up for future viewing.
I mean, they were like really banking on. They're like, damn, hope we can make like 1,000 of these.
Well, like Lucas originally had this like fucking long ass script, which would be the original trilogy, and when they were like, okay, George, we can't do this entire fucking thing. He's like, okay, let's take the first act of this trilogy and make it into a movie. And then that was like his passion project. And then it kind of spiraled out of control, and people were like, this fucking movie's going to suck.
Now I'm just thinking about what like a supercut of the original trilogy as like one like 3-hour movie would look like.
I think they tried that once before, because I remember going to the theater and like it's basically the 3 movies cut into one.
2 hours of just C-3PO R2D2 in the desert.
They somehow prolong that scene, and then it's Luke and Vader fighting. That's it.
Yeah, towards the end though, there's just the Jawas making those sounds.
Yeah, that too.
So this was one thing I did want to talk about real quick. This is your first time watching episode 4 after episode 7. Episode 7 is made to be a mirror. Do you feel like episode 7 did episode 4 justice?
In a way.
That's a loaded question.
Yeah. I'll answer first, because I'm definitely the least intelligent to answer this. So, of course, I'm going to be the loudest and first. So, I'm also coming from the perspective, I have not seen episode 7 since I've seen episode 7. But I feel like episode 7... What episode 4 does right, I feel like episode 7 also hits those same notes in a way. Obviously, I think episode 7 had expectations to come along with it. Obviously, being fucking episode 7.
Too much walking around in a desert with a robot.
Yeah, exactly. Have to have a cute new robot protagonist. And Chewbacca has to be there. Other than that, the good movie. But no. So I feel like it's kind of an unfair question to episode 7, just because episode 7 did have to fulfill all these expectations.
Episode 7 should have been its own movie, but it very much was similar to episode 4.
Oh yeah. They're very, very similar movies in how they're
they
shot,
beats.
Made. Huh?
They hit the same beats.
Oh yeah, the same beats. They have the same notes, have the same strides and stuff. But I do think it is a little unfair to kind of compare them, just because, again, episode 4 comes in. If episode 4 bombs, it bombs whatever, kind of. Episode 7, had to be this great movie to the majority of people. And episode 7's a lot less divisive than episode 8. I would say more people like episode 7 than people like episode 8.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's kind of a nostalgia trip.
Oh yeah, episode 7's totally all right, nerds, here's your movie, but just wait till what we're doing in the next two.
There's no way. We don't want to get into this right here with episode 7, but there's no way it could not have been a nostalgia trip. There's no way. They have to introduce the characters that are still alive.
Yeah.
And how the fuck do they do that? Bring them in. They're not gonna have fucking Han come in and be like, "Oh, I'm on a horse now. I ride horses."
Hold on,
Luke.
that would have been awesome.
That was just Cowboys and Aliens.
Oh,
my
my
God.
God.
Luke's a race car
We tried
driver.
to forget that piece of shit. But bouncing off what Tanner was saying with it being unfair, I agree. And not only it was the expectations for that movie high, it was also coming off the heels of the prequels, which are loath to almost an unfair degree. I wouldn't say
Almost.
almost.
Not unjustified, but definitely, don't beat up the kid who couldn't help it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, coming off like Disney's gonna ruin Star Wars 2 with Episode 7.
I mean, it's definitely more Marvel.
oh yeah,
It's very Disney.
but like saying like something's more Marvel now is that a bad thing? Like obviously
no, there's a formula there.
Yeah.
But the formula is good. I enjoy the formula. It's just, and I think that if you have something like Star Wars, I think it's okay to be in that formula.
Yeah.
I just don't want that seeping into every aspect of entertainment.
oh sure,
Yeah.
Which it seems to be.
that's what's gonna happen
happening.
when Disney owns everything. So
That's why
Which will probably be in the next 5 years.
yeah,
That's why everything needs to be split up. Spider-Man needs to be its own thing. The Avengers need to be their own show. Iron Man needs to be his own show. X-Men need to be their own thing. Fantastic Four can be their own
if
thing.
you want
they
that-
can't all be connected. No, they can be connected.
Okay.
Winslow, have you ever heard of comic books?
I want to ask you. I've got the perfect world for. Have you heard of the DC Cinematic Universe?
Heavy shots.
but Winslow, if you do like a lot of worlds collaborating together, have I ever told you about a game called Kingdom Hearts?
Thing is, I don't like the worlds to be because there's those
Kingdom
people.
Hearts is trash.
Okay, shut up. This
the
isn't the
fuck up.
podcast for this.
Okay, what I'm trying to say is that there's people out there who are like, because the whole them Disney getting those assets and stuff from Fox. It's like people are like, I don't want X-Men to be part of the the MCU. I want them to be their own thing. It's like, but when they were their own thing, I mean, sure they weren't terrible, but it's like,
They want them to be their own thing, but also recognize that that's that thing as well.
yeah, but
Separate but equal.
Yeah.
People just don't like their carrots and their peas touching.
But I mean, and it's like, and people hold out so much hope for the DCEU, and it's like, why? It's like it's already fallen apart, and I mean, everybody's already talking about like nobody wants to do another Justice League for a long time. Everybody kind of wants.
Well, because everybody left.
I mean, yeah. Well, actually, no. Ben Affleck. Sorry, we're getting on a whole nother thing. Ben Affleck is actually, they're saying that he hasn't left the Batman role entirely. He might play an older Batman, but currently, this film that's coming up will be a younger Batman, which
Jesus.
is like,
Give me Batman Beyond and just go to hell.
Okay.
we're actually getting DC's answer to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a Batman Beyond animated movie, and I've seen some I've seen some concept art. It looks pretty good.
Yeah.
It better be good. We're not going to go here. We're talking about Star Wars.
I know.
How you fix the DCEU? Get rid of fucking Zack Snyder.
We should do a whole DCEU like podcast.
We're
one
just
day.
trash on it the entire time.
I mean, that's what it would
sure.
be. But
We
like,
all just take
Everything
6
sucks.
giant
Wonder
dumps
Woman
on
good.
that.
Wonder Woman's fantastic.
I mean, sorry.
seen
Can we do a Gal Gadot podcast?
Oh, please. Another thing about Wonder Woman 2, I mean, even the director of Wonder Woman has stated that, like, she doesn't want Wonder Woman being another Justice League movie. She wants Wonder Woman to be its own thing for a while. And I'm like, it makes sense because Justice League was just so bad. Like, and Wonder Woman on her own is very, very good. And same thing with Aquaman, too. Aquaman did very well. I haven't seen it, but it did very well. And it's like, all these characters. I mean, we'll just have to see how Shazam does, which I'm kind of excited for it. I want to see it, but yeah. Okay, let's get back to
So Star Wars.
Jonathan, are you on page 2
it's
now?
weird. That was on Jonathan's notes. Us talking about the
He
DCEU.
planned it. It's weird.
It's all good.
I guess being in the afterlife gave him
A lot of perspective.
clairvoyance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good job, Jonathan. So, I guess I guess I'm going to talk, because we've been talking about how much we love the movie. I want to say the one thing in this movie that I found super distracting is I forgot how much quote unquote teen heartthrob they try to make Luke Skywalker in this movie. Like, super tan Mark Hamill, the long, like, sandy bleach blonde locks, and like, kind of like, I was making fun of it while we were watching it. It's like, what's up, bros? Here I am saving the princess.
That was a good bit that we had going.
Yeah, I always forget that's like, oh yeah, he was like the whole like Chicks dig me, dudes want to be me.
But wait a minute, didn't you fall for him too?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, we all fell for him.
Yeah, of course.
But he's like trying to be the teen heartthrob, but whiny as fuck.
Oh my god, yeah.
I want to go to
Chashi Station to pick up some power converters.
Uncle.
Uncle. Damn it.
Why are you a disappointment, goddamn?
You're just like your father.
You're not going to school
like your father before you.
because of your father did.
And there's so many like subtle hints. It's like, oh yeah, Luke, like your father. Like it feels like the character should look in the camera and like wink. Like that's gonna come up.
Your
like,
father was a dickhead.
I bet Luke was like, yes, he nailed it. George Lucas.
Like especially with like Obi-Wan's talking about his father. It's like, yes, your father was also a pupil of mine. Wink.
I served with him in the Clone Wars.
Yeah. And it's weird. Darth Vader was a pupil of mine. Wink.
And he killed your father.
Yeah.
A wink.
Yeah.
And like,
It was a spiritual killing.
yeah. And that wasn't even decided at that point.
Oh, yeah, obviously not.
Which is weird how seamless that transition is.
It was weird. It's weird.
Unlike the Luke and Leia being brother and sister thing.
Which I noticed
that is weird.
It was weird how many times Leia kissed Luke through the movie, and I'm like,
but good luck.
they're brother and sister.
Or when Han's like, do you think a girl like her and a guy like me? And then Luke's like, no.
Yeah,
she's
like,
hot.
She's hot. I'm going to hit that.
Yeah.
There's a bit where me and Tanner just had to be like, bro, she's super into you, bro.
Yeah. We were all, oh man, it's good.
I think there are a lot of inconsistencies throughout the like. We never understood why did R2D2 say, why was R2D2? Oh yeah, my Obi-Wan Kenobi's my owner. He was owned by Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Obi-Wan's like, I've never seen this little shit before. It's like what the fuck? And like because at first I was thinking, okay, well maybe because I couldn't remember that part as to why Obi-Wan never remembered him, and I was thinking, well, maybe
too much space peyote.
Yeah, I was say maybe they don't even go there. Maybe they don't go there in this movie. But then it's just like, oh yeah, he used to be owned by Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's like, oh, I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. I haven't heard that name in a while. Well, who is he? It's me. Well, this droid says it's yours. I've never seen that little shit in my life.
It's like when Owen's like, oh, the crazy space wizard. It's like,
hint.
Yeah.
And also, one of the things that always distracts me about this movie in particular, especially with the younger actors, the acting is weird.
Yeah.
Like, Princess Leia has this, like, faux British accent that goes in and out.
Thank you. I noticed this. Like, she talks like how Lucille Ball would talk on I Love Lucy at some point. She'd be like, oh, Luke. It's like, it's so distracting. Like, everybody's talking like a normal human being, and for some reason, she's talking like she's in the 40s.
Leia, cut the shit.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck is... And then, like, even Harrison Ford has some parts where he's, like, very just like, I'm not reading off a script right now.
Yeah,
yes, sir, Luke. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
I don't play by the rules.
Yeah.
Well, and this is the only movie out of the original trilogy that Lucas actually directed, and it shows.
It shows.
And he also wrote the movie, and the movie went through like 10 rewrites.
And it shows.
And it's like, this is what Lucas can do with 10 rewrites. we see what happens when he only does a first draft.
You know what? This movie fucking sucked.
It's like the movie's held together by very thin tape.
It's like the movie should not have even been made. It's a miracle this movie came out.
It's like basically
exactly.
everybody else that worked in the movie had to work harder to compensate for Lucas.
Yeah.
You know what? I hate this movie.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, like the movie was basically saved by his wife in editing. And there's another little anecdote was like Lucas, Spielberg, Coppola, De Palma, a lot of the famous directors who started around this time were like, I think they all went to college together and they were all friends. And Lucas was sending the script to Brian De Palma, who's famous for Scarface.
Yeah.
And they were trying to get the opening crawl down, and Brian De Palma's just like, "Fuck it, give it to me." And he's the one who wrote the opening crawl because Lucas's was so bad.
That's so.
Fuck
God.
yeah.
And it's so straightforward too that you're just like, it literally tells you this is what happened, this is what's happening, what's about to happen next.
Talk about throwing you in the thick of it. That fucking crawl has a lot of information.
That's what I'm saying. It's just like it feels like you just got shoved into the middle of a
war. It's like, hey, the first 20 minutes of this movie got cut out, and also it's not renewed for a sequel. So just to catch you up a little bit,
I can totally see people in the middle of the theater being like, "Did I miss a movie?
I didn't come here to fucking read.
Did I miss Star War?"
Oh my God! Hold on. There was this excellent part with Greedo where Greedo is speaking, and who says it? It was Winslow or Colt that goes, "How did people in the theater know what Greedo
It was fucking cold. And when he said that, I was thinking they most likely had subtitles because shit.
Because we were watching it with subtitles on, and Colt just goes, "How did the people in the theater know what he was?"
No, I said they were shit out of luck.
Oh yeah, Colt said, "Oh, I guess they were just
Which
shit
I
out of
didn't know that Greedo was speaking. What was it? Huttese? I'm assuming is the language of the Hutts.
Yeah, it's Hutties.
It's crazy.
Or that's whatever the subtitles for this movie put in, because he's a Rhodian, but they all speak their own language, but everybody knows exactly what they're saying.
Yeah,
they're all lingual. They're all
they're bi about a lot of things. Lingual isn't one of them.
the whole universe. I don't know why I wasn't bisexual.
I mean, we don't know.
We don't know.
Greedo got shot. For all we know, I mean, who knows?
Didn't Greedo get shot and then immediately was in the Jabba area?
Yeah, no, I pointed that out, which I hate.
I didn't understand.
Which is another reason why that scene
was cut out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, what? I just realized that.
Yeah, he was over in the back. I pointed it out to Tanner. I was like, "Hey, there's Greedo." Yeah. Like he didn't die.
God, this movie's a mess.
Oh,
also,
that's his brother, Brito.
Oh, he's really horny.
Also, sand people.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
The rednecks of Tatooine.
yeet.
I think there's a reason they're called Tusken Raiders in some sequels.
Yeah.
What I thought was funny, funny to watching Cody call like the banthas, the sand elephants, like that. Those are their 4-wheelers because they're the sand.
Yeah, we call those 4-wheelers here in the South, or ATVs if you're in the North. Whatever, go to hell.
One funny thing is about the Tusken Raider attack is that the one that attacks Luke, he was apparently the only stuntman in the entire movie, and he couldn't see out of his mask. So when Luke looks afraid, he was afraid because the guy was just
that was an actual Tusken Raider.
Well, in the scene where he does the staff up and down thing,
the little chain.
That was literally them just rewinding it back and forth.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh God, they did their best.
They
literally polished a turn.
You know what? Hashtag give AYCH $11 million challenge. We're gonna make a movie.
How great would it be though? It'd be pretty great
To make a movie with $11 million.
I'd use $1 million and pocket the rest.
You don't say that.
I mean, they're investors. They don't care. They got more money than that.
Yeah, but they don't want.
Boys up top are calling me.
They're like, you can't do that.
How much did you spend on the actual movie? $300.
Here it is.
Colt with a white beard.
Half of that is in Doritos.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that name in a while. And then somebody just say, "Who's that?" It's me.
It's me.
Is that Colty One Kenobi? One of the things that got me was just how emotionless Luke was whenever he walked up on.
Dead fucking Uncle Ant.
They're cooked, and he's like,
He's going on an adventure.
I was actually about to bring that up. There are a lot of moments in this movie which should have big emotional weight to it. That is just what?
The thing that got
Alderaan
being destroyed,
and even Obi-Wan dying. It's there's nothing you can have done. We got shit on our tail. We gotta fight.
Yeah, and then,
no time to grieve.
And then as soon as they destroy the ships, Luke's like, "Hell yeah!" It's super pumped about it.
I just wish
it just turns into Top
here.
Gun.
Yeah.
No, that was the other thing too. Was
Biggs, he was Goose.
oh shit!
what?
Well,
Top Gun.
Top Gun.
Oh, I've never seen Top Gun. I don't believe in Tom Cruise.
Oh my God.
Oh wow.
I don't.
There's proof.
Is there though? Can you prove it?
All the fuck. What is that movie? You're right.
What movie are you talking talking about.
What if I looked up on
Mission
YouTube
Impossible.
Tom Cruise jumping on the couch and it's just Oprah staring at nothing?
We need more evidence to prove that Tom Cruise exists.
Hashtag
X-Files.
Hashtag give AYCH $11 million to learn if Tom Cruise is real or not challenge.
Dude, I will make a documentary on
Is
that.
Tom Cruise just like the Mandela effect? Like we all just imagine it?
Yeah.
Oh, it's like Bearstein Bears.
But Tom Cruise.
Did he
Now we
exist?
just need to hire Zach Bagans.
Oh my god, bro! He gets a tattoo of Tom Cruise on his back. That's not a Ghost Adventure joke. I don't think any of our listeners watch Ghost Adventures, but if you do, you'll giggle.
Can we all just get like 13 layers of spray tan?
Oh god, yes,
And in all the Affliction shirts and buckle jeans.
God, I remember.
please.
and frosted tips.
Jonathan, stay out of my closet.
I remember the live stream of them they had on Halloween, and I was seeing Zach Baggins' is ass crack. Like,
Bro,
like
He's just like a regular AYCH recorder.
everybody's
Basically.
ass crack is out right now.
Yeah.
I mean, don't you remember a ghost hunt? Like everybody's butts was all the way out the entire time.
I just picture everybody walking around with their pants around their ankles.
It's like that scene in the SpongeBob movie where Patrick's running away from like the edge of the cliff. He's like, oh, and his pants are all the way down. His
right.
He fucking fall.
that was us.
That was
co-signing.
us, yeah. I mean, good thing we didn't have a camera.
Oh god. But I did want to mention like the emotionless aspect of Luke. Whenever he was getting out of his fighter to like look at his dead. First of all, he could have saw that it was on fire millions of miles away.
Because
Okay?
there is nothing.
There's nothing in between.
Flat.
The second thing was when he went to get out of his fighter, he's like, "What? What is that?" And like he looks down at his belt buckle like it's like the most annoying thing. He and tries to get the belt buckle off and gets out and he's like, "Well, look at that," and just gets in his fighter.
Time to go on an adventure.
Oh, and the part where he gets out of the fucking thing and like R2's like smoking and broken and
The only person who cares is C-3PO.
C-3PO is super worried and Luke's like, he'll be fine. We won, motherfucker.
But see, the thing is, too, one of his friends, Biggs, gets killed.
Yeah.
No, nothing.
Okay, new canon. Luke is a sociopath.
if you remember, he killed...
Episode 8 makes sense now.
He kills fucking animals in the desert. He said that whenever they're talking about, like, oh, man, that hole is too small.
Yeah,
There's no
I
way...
killed wombats all the time.
It's like he killed animals. Like, that's a sign.
No, I think he might actually be a reflection of George Lucas. He's a sociopath.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Oh my god. Yeah. Like that's not like you thinking that is 100% fact. And it's even creepier because he's even more of like Anakin's reflection.
But
from
then
the
again,
prequels.
he is in
the younglings.
He is in the desert, and they farm water. So...
Just like George Lucas did.
growing up.
Also, Leia's the only woman we see in the movie.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, like
I
the
think she's the
only
only woman in the galaxy.
and the only woman in most of the trilogy, except for like Mon Mothma.
For like
Yeah.
30 seconds
Yeah.
or something.
Exactly.
You don't know those aliens could be female.
Actually,
Or
I did
whatever
see some like female shaped aliens. I don't know.
I don't know.
Weird.
I mean, like, she's the only obviously prominent female character
Yeah.
in the movie, which
That's so weird.
And then the only other one we see is what's her name? She's in the white dress and she kind of leads the
Mon Mothma. She's
yeah.
the leader of the
Yeah.
rebellion.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
And also the slaves.
Oh, and Jabba's
Jabba's
palace.
yeah.
Yeah. Lucas definitely has some troubling views on women, to put it mildly. We'll get to that with the prequels.
Yeah.
One more thing I wanted to mention is I really love the ending scene with
the marriage council, or not marriage council, whatever. It looks like a
Spoiler!
The ad council.
where they're
The
giving
award
out the
ceremony?
medals and
Yeah.
shit. I was like, I'm like, I get soaked up every time. But watch that scene without the music; it's fucking hilarious.
No, I was noticing that the faces were so weird.
They're so weird.
That was so weird. Everyone was like, this is a podcast. But like, imagine me staring at everything. Like, Leia seemed really into Luke. Looked over at Han. Han was like, "I'm into you, Leia," and Leia was like, "Ew, I like my brother better."
Bro, she's super into you. I
I
swear.
feel like all three of them are like really into each other because I remember when like Luke touched down after they blew up the Death Star, he just like dived into Han's chest.
Yeah.
Like, Luke, Han, I'm so glad.
Y'all
to
think
see
they tag team?
I don't want it.
Eiffel Tower.
It's a menage a trois.
Oh God, Jesus.
Or Menage a Quattro. I don't know how that. Wookie.
Like, who else are you throwing in there?
R2D2.
Beep boop. I don't know. Wow! Wow!
But that is a testament to the music. Just, because the scene without the music, like you just hear like assholes in the back coughing and laughing and shit. It's fucking hilarious.
I mean, it's a galaxy of sound. It needs it. Oh, also, Luke wears the same boots as fucking Han. I don't know why.
Yeah, and they're both just fucking rainbows.
I noticed that.
Okay,
wait till we get to Empire and Lando starts wearing Han's clothes out of nowhere.
That's so fucking weird.
What?
Yeah, there's a part in there where Lando's just wearing Han's clothes while they're flying the Millennium Falcon, and it's just like there's no.
That's the other thing.
There's no context.
All the random word changes, like I'm Obi-Wan, and
I'm Obi-Wan,
the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, and Princess Leia.
Yeah, at the very end. Yeah.
Who the hell is that?
Alderaan.
Yeah,
Bean Kenobi.
But I mean. To kind of like explain this in a weird way. I mean, everyone in like real life pronounces shit differently. So I mean,
but I know how to say fucking Falcon.
But like no one says earth.
Okay, wait. Hold on. I have something that I meant to tell you guys, but I completely forgot about it. One of my professors, instead of saying vases, he fucking says vases.
What? There's people that say
Guys,
vases.
no.
That's fine. Vases is
No,
fine.
That's a word that I'm
like-
okay with people pronouncing weirdly.
Really? That's
If
what you're
like
okay
a bird
with?
landed on my shoulder, I go, "Oh, a nice falcon." I would want to be executed on the
I'm
spot.
mad.
The only reasonable explanation is that Harrison Ford didn't know how to read up until that point.
I mean, he was a carpenter before he was an actor,
it was the
so.
70s.
That is true.
Pollution had killed all the birds. He'd never seen a fucking bird before. He was like, "What is this, a falcon?" And he just went with it.
Well, that's actually a spaceship, but sure, whatever you want to call it.
Like, honestly, I imagine that's like some shit George Lucas would harp on. Now, Harrison, it's pronounced Falcon.
Yeah, there's no
You
falcons in the Star Wars universe.
Oh no,
They're not
Harrison.
on
I
ears.
can totally see that.
I bet you Harrison was like, he probably said Falcon, but George Lucas was just on his ass about it. Like,
I can just imagine
Falcon.
George being like, "What's that?"
He's like a falcon, a bird, it can fly. It's like,
Well, and another thing too, which is I find fucking hilarious. The main three, they just fucked with Lucas the entire shoot.
Oh yeah, Mark Hamill even now will tweet out like gifs or like little clips of like them backstage of just or not backstage, but like behind the scenes just like fucking around. I'm like, George Lucas was so anal about this. You know he's like pissed off.
Because he gave shit about how he wrote and everything. Like they're I think at a certain point they just let the main three do their own thing when they were reading their lines. They followed the guide, but after a certain point they just this shit doesn't make sense, so we're just gonna do it our own. Because literally, Harrison Ford said, "Lucas, you can type this shit, but you can't say it."
yeah, that is actual thing that was said.
Like I feel like the part where Han Solo's talking to the stormtrooper over the intercom. There's no way George Lucas wrote that because it's actually funny.
Because I think with that scene, he briefly read that part of the script and just ad-libbed it,
yeah.
But it works in the scene because it makes it sound more real and spontaneous because he's reacting to the moment. It's
that felt like the most real scene in the entire movie.
Yeah, it feels so distinctly different than everything else in the movie. Like there's no way George Lucas had any say in that.
Yeah, because everything else is super stilted.
Yep.
And also going on weird shit George Lucas made them do. I want to say it was this movie where he told Carrie Fisher that they didn't wear bras in space.
What the fuck? Wasn't she 19?
Yeah.
Fuck. That's creepy.
Gravity, you know?
Guess what? We can't like Star Wars anymore.
Oh my god.
You know what? I'm just going to say it. George Lucas, canceled.
He's been canceled.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's been shitting on him literally since the second
Plus,
movie
he
came
kind
out.
of partially canceled himself. He's like, I'm just out of here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to sell this shit to
He's
Disney.
going to sell it for billions.
It's your problem
of dollars.
now, idiot.
But I want to say he gave all that money to charity. that like $4 billion.
Yeah, he did. Because he had, he's rich.
What
as shit.
charity? The pervert one? Why did you say it like that?
Because I was shocked. He's a pervert.
Well, that's Star Wars. I mean, did anybody have anything else to say?
Well, we talked a lot of shit about this movie, but like at the end of the day, we still love it. I mean, it's just like we're hitting because we care, because this is one of our favorite movies and one of our favorite franchises. And it's like we're just picking out it. No matter what all faults we find it, at the end of the day, we still love Star Wars no matter what. So this is just like
we were talking about Star Wars.
Oh my God! Why did I watch Lord of the Rings?
I've been talking about Chamber of Secrets this whole ass time.
I thought we were talking about Star Trek.
Beam me up.
Beam me up, Obi-Wan.
You're my only
Booby Bond.
Baby Bond, can you please beam me up, please?
R-dos, D-dos.
I'm actually like starting to watch Star Trek. It's actually pretty good for it being like cheesy 80s sci-fi.
Wow, nerd.
That's why people like Doctor Who.
We don't want politics in our science fiction.
What are you
Jonathan.
trying to fucking say, Tanner?
Science fiction's all politics.
Yeah.
Just wait till we get to fucking episode 8. That's going to be fun.
Oh yeah.
I think we have some things in store for that, but stay tuned.
Pat knows all about this from me. It would be months after that movie came out. I would just come home and be like, these fucking assholes don't understand this fucking movie.
I really do want to hear Jonathan's perspective on episode 8. I'm very excited for that.
It's possible we have like 10 people on that, because everybody we know that we're going to get,
they all want a piece of it.
They all want to be on episode 8 for pretty much the same reason, and I just want them all on there to just be like, I may not even be.
We might
on
just
it.
be mediators.
We may just calm everybody down.
That might actually be a good idea.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us for our first ever Star Wars file. We will be doing these every month from now till the end of the year. In fact, December we'll actually have 2, because that's the only way we're going to finish this year. So thank you so much for listening. As always, we're All You Can Hear. You can find us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Overcast, Spotify, every other RSS feed catcher out there. Just search All You Can Hear podcast, AYCH podcast. You'll find us under all 3 of those things. You can follow us on Twitter at AYCH Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, AYCH Podcast. You can follow us on twitch.tv/AllYouCanHear. If you're listening to this on the day it came out, February 22nd, word up. Colton Wenzel did this awesome Metro stream. You can catch all the VODs on Twitch. Yeah. It's really cool. Check that out. But also, if you're listening to this before March 1st, go to our Twitter page. The pinned tweet you'll see will be a Google form for our best anime OPs of all time tournament we're running in March. Go there. You can nominate up to 8 anime OPs, minimum 4, up to 8. So go nominate, hit it up. There's a ton of shit nominated, so just get ready for some anger to ensue. And you can follow me, Tanner, on Twitter at Tanner1495.
I am Colt, and you can follow me on Twitter at ColtD00. Just send pictures of dogs dressed like Star Wars characters.
Yeah, Yoda.
Or a thick-ass Chewbacca.
I don't know if you
it's
want
your decision.
I don't know if you want that in your inbox.
We want fucking Lumpy. Let's go.
Who goes next?
I don't fucking know.
Did somebody go? I don't know. I did my plug.
Okay, I'll go first. I'll go second, and then Jonathan. Jonathan, you go next.
My name is Jonathan, and I'm not giving out my personal information. I'm going dark. Bye.
Oh, he's dead again. He's dead.
He's gone. He just force vanished.
We're gonna have to resurrect him again for next.
There's
time.
literally just a hoodie in the chair.
And when Obi-Wan died,
and one of us is gonna step on it to make sure.
I love that part. Darth Vader was like, "Where the fuck did he go?
Is he dead?
Why did he go a step? Like did he just slip to the floor?
It's so fucking funny.
Why did he do that? It just makes you think, like, why did Vader go over there and be like, huh? Like, he's gone.
This guy's one of the most powerful beings in the galaxy, and he's
let me
just
step on it to make sure.
Is he the only one that just poofs out of all the Jedi?
Yeah. I mean, Yoda does.
Oh, who's that?
Oh, Yoda does, yeah.
Anywho, my name is Cody. You can follow me at CODDOC11 on Instagram and Twitter. I will be having, I think, a trip outside of the country very soon, so you can follow my Instagram.
Wow.
For
really?
some photos.
This is the first anyone here is hearing about it.
Yeah. You guys could follow me on Instagram.
That's right. Cody's going to Atlanta, Georgia.
Coca-Cola factory.
Yep. He's going to the aquarium, going to eat some peaches, and going to go see some fish.
Hell yeah.
That sounds like an indie song. Anyways, on to you.
I'm Winslow. Thank you for listening. You can check me out on Twitter at WinsyWokie. You can check out my art Instagram at World of Winsy. Again, like Tanner said, on Twitch, we did a stream, essentially playthrough of the Metro series. So go check that out. That was really fun, really nice.
This is Patrick. Thank you for listening. Twitter and Instagram.
Oh, what? Hold on.
His is Pat's. Turn yours on. Now go for it, Pat.
Yeah,
that was weird.
This is Patrick. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at John Lost His Name. You can follow my art on Facebook at John Lost His Name Art. Also, Obi-Wan, he didn't vanish. He just shrank down really small.
That's why Betty was like, he's force shrink. Get it.
Now there's just a tiny naked man running around the Death Star.
Oh my!
I have become more powerful than you could ever imagine.
The Death Star was blown up.
Oh no! No, he's sitting in Luke's ear. That's the reason why Luke keeps hearing him.
Oh my god!
God!
Oh my god! Obi-Wan became fucking Jiminy Cricket.
Hello, my honey.
That makes so much fucking sense.
I love this movie.
Well,
Vader was trying to step on him.
see you soon.
Goodbye.
Bye.